Okay, so let's consider another example problem. And you've noticed we keep doing the same sort of thing with projectile motions. We just have our same old equations over and over again. So we just use them in different ways. And so that's basically how you do this. But let's do another problem. Let's say that we're going to do a problem here with basketball. And so we have a basketball here, and someone's trying to shoot a basket. And so the basket here is located a distance of x distance of 5.4 meters away from where the ball is being thrown, and is a height of 0.91 meters above where the ball is shot. And so the ball is shot at an angle of 40 degrees, and we want it to go into the basket. Okay, and so you shoot with some initial V naught. What I want to know is, what is that initial velocity? Okay, so we look at our situation. We have x equals x naught plus v x naught t plus 1/2 ax t squared. We have that y equals y naught plus v y naught t plus 1/2 ay t squared. Okay, we know the gravity is just going to be down here. Okay, we can put our origin right where we start. So x naught is 0, y naught is 0. X acceleration 0, so x is just going to be v x naught t, and y is going to be v y naught t plus 1/2 ay t squared. We say, what do we know? We know x, we know y. Okay, if I say up is positive, then we can actually go back here and say that ay is minus g, so that means we know this. Okay. Well, gosh, we look at it and it says that looks like a problem here. We don't know enough stuff. Okay. And so what do we do? Well, we look at it and say, well, what do we not care? We need the V's, okay, because we know that Vx naught is going to be V naught cosine of 40 degrees, and Vy naught is V naught sine of 40 degrees. So we look at that and say, well, okay, so if we somehow, could find the V x naught and V y naught, we can get the V's, the V naught. So we don't quite know the V's, but the thing we definitely don't know is T. We don't care about T. So what I can do is, in the top equation, solve for T, and then solve for T in this equation, and then plug in down there. So T equals x over vx naught. Okay, so y is going to be equal to vy naught times x over vx naught minus 1/2 g x over vx naught squared. Okay, all right. So now we look at this and we say, well, gosh, now what? Okay, well, v y naught over vx naught times x minus g x squared over 2v x naught squared. Okay, but we know what vy naught and vx naught are in terms of the initial velocity, so we can plug that in here. And we can say this is going to be v naught sine theta divided by v naught cosine theta times x minus g x squared divided by v naught squared cosine squared theta. Well, now the v naughts cancel right there. Okay. And so we have y equals x times tangent theta minus g x squared over v naught squared cosine squared theta. And we say, now what do we know? We know x, we know y, so we know x and y. We know the angle, so we know that, that this is tangent of 40 degrees. we know G, we know X, we know cosine of 40 degrees. Well, gosh, we know everything in this equation except for V naught. So we can just do algebra and solve for V naught. So let's move this to that side of the equation and this to the other. So G x squared over V naught squared cosine squared theta equals X tangent theta minus Y. Okay. So then we can look at that and say, okay, we're trying to get V naught, so we can cross multiply the V naught. Okay. And so, wait, I lost a 2 in here somewhere. Sorry, there should be a 2 in here. Okay. Should have been a 2 in there because 1/2 G. Okay. So there should be a 2 right there. Sorry about that. Okay. So now we can just, we can cross multiply the V naught and that. So we have that V naught squared is going to equal G x squared divided by tangent of the 40 degrees X minus Y, or X tangent 40 degrees minus Y cosine squared theta, and I just keep putting that 2 right there. Okay. So now V naught is just going to be the square root of all of that. G x squared divided by 2x tangent theta minus Y cosine squared theta. And we know all that stuff. Okay. So V naught is going to be the square root of 9.81 meter per second squared times the x squared, which is 5.4 meters squared, divided by 2 times the x, 5.4 meters, times tangent 40 degrees minus the y, 0.91 meters. Okay, and then cosine squared 40 degrees. Plug all that in, and V naught is 8.2 meters per second. So you shoot the basketball at 8.2 meters per second at an angle of 40 degrees. And for this situation where it's 5.4 meters away and 0.91 meters up, it's going to go through the basket. And so, same thing. We always do the same thing. We started with our same equations, okay, and we said, what do we know? What do we not know? And then we did algebra. And that's always how you do these problems.